Hello, everybody. It's Mark Smith with Family Tree. Go ahead and cancel a little bit. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the live stream show. Y'all just have me tonight. No Karen and no other guests. But next week we do have a guest. Next week we're going to have Deb Ward, and Deb is a very, very talented Germana. Deb is a very, very talented massage therapist from St. Joe, Michigan. And she, I don't know if this is on right. She is the person that I worked with when I was first shattered. This was June, July of 2015. And she and I have sort of an interesting story to tell about the process of how healing touch and massage therapy, it saved my life. And why is my screen black? Is anybody else's screen black? Hi, Sideways. Hey, Robert. Jackie, you need to be refreshed, I believe young Robert is saying. Jackie, that's just my soul, you're saying. So anyway, next week, Deb Ward, she isn't going to be here live. She's going to be here via, we're going to Skype her in. And she hasn't done a lot of this kind of technology thing, but she's really sweet and she's really smart and she's really gifted. And she really did save my life. And we'll tell a really amazing story of healing next week in the show. Mr. Paulie's in the house. Where's he at? He's right behind me. I'll get out of the way. All right, there you go. There's you some Mr. Paulie. Do you want me to just stay off the camera and watch him? He's just licking himself. He's really not doing anything horribly entertaining. Hey, Diana. Okay, Stella Bella. So, want to tell you guys, if you haven't seen it, last night I made a video. It was actually over Facebook video with a gentleman from India, and he is interested in being one of the Family Tree brand life coaches, and he wrote me 8 questions that I thought were exceptionally relevant, and I went through and answered his 8 questions during the show. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer here. So his name is Santosh. I think that's correct. And so it's not on this channel. It's on the Family Tree brand life coaching YouTube channel. If you're interested in doing the life coaching thing, we had a great meeting. The picture isn't awesome, but the questions were, and I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed it. So I don't have much to share tonight. You can see Paulie. There you go. There's just some Mr. Paulie. I've got 3 questions, medium-sized questions, and that's all I got. And so y'all are going to have to carry the show tonight. Either that or we can have Mr. Pauly do tricks. And he didn't have very many tricks at all. He's got very, very few tricks. So going to need y'all to step in and really give me some good questions to work with. Or tell jokes. Australia. Steve from Australia is watching. That's awesome. We get a lot of people from Australia, it seems like. A lot of people from Australia. I don't know if people in Australia have issues or if they simply are very insightful. Laura said the fella from Newfoundland, Tanya, am I saying it right? The fellow from India really did have great insight. He really did, and I enjoyed it. So if you're interested in that thing, that counseling or that life coaching thing at all, check it out. So, okay, we're going to start with an email from Pascal. Oh, Jackie has a question. All right, I'll get somebody to write that question down. We'll get to that. This is Pascal from the Netherlands. And I used to think Pascal was a dude. New Zealand. But Pascal has corrected me and told me that she's not a dude. So this is Pascal from the Netherlands. Dear Mark and your very nice colleagues. It didn't say, dear nice Mark and your nice colleagues. Hi, may I ask you a question? Perhaps you can use this question on your next live stream, which I'm not able to watch due to the time difference. If you talk about when you talk about your borderline mother, I sometimes get tears in my eyes, she writes. She's a borderline by the book. Yeah, my mama didn't mess around. If she's going to be a borderline, she's going to do it right, you know. So it is clear that she definitely has this personality disorder. Thank goodness you know that now and can convert it into something positive for your healing process. My narcissistic mother is dysfunctional, but not so obvious as your mother. My mother's behavior is unhealthy for me, but you have experienced it much worse. My mother was a little bit milder, but inconsistent in her nurturing. Here's the question. Do we both experience the same narcissistic abuse syndrome? In other words, is your experience with your narcissistic parent more traumatic than mine? Or do we suffer in the same way? Are you more damaged? I think we know the answer to that. I look forward to your next streaming. Love the honesty of your personal story. Well, here's the thing, Pascal. Some of these questions, it's all in who you ask, but you're asking me, so I'll tell you what I think. When I was first shattered, I came to our men's group here at Family Tree, and I was a mess. I was so intense and volatile and just really crazy. And I was trying to explain to the fellas just how damaged I was. And they came up with this concept that no one's more damaged than anybody else, and I should just settle myself down and quit being so dramatic. But honestly, Pascal, I do believe that there are people who are more intensely and seriously traumatized than others. It's all in a continuum, and who's to say who suffers more? It's really a very objective thing. I don't think you can say if you experienced a certain thing that therefore you had, 98 units of suffering, and somebody else experienced something else and they had 92 units of suffering. But my answer to your question is, yeah, I think I'm more damaged than you, Pascal, because it's how young were you when you were abandoned? And if you were abandoned when you were an infant, you're screwed. You're really sort of screwed in that case. So there are different levels of shattering. There are different levels of narcissistic abuse in childhood. And yours sounds moderate, and evidently mine was more intense than that. And then I had to reenact it with my abandoning fiance, so which was very much so a blessing in disguise. Who knew that? Mickey Noor is new. Welcome. So I hope that makes sense. It's not a contest to see who can be more fucked up than Mark, but it'd be pretty hard. So anyway, Jackie, I'll get to your question in just a bit. I'm going to handle one. I believe this is from the same person. I believe it's from a gal named Sarah. So she writes, how wrong is it to share with your 20-year-old daughter that her dad is a narcissist, given the circumstances that she knows things are not right at home at all? In fact, she knows too much of the dysfunction. How do you make a balance between tearing her down and protecting her for her life? That's a complicated question, Sarah. I know Sarah, so I know a little bit about the background here. A kid of 20 years old is different from a 7-year-old, obviously. I'm a big believer. Hi, Sammy. I'm a big believer in sharing the truth. The truth will set you free. And I'm not a big believer that being in denial and keeping secrets does your family system any good whatsoever. I'm going to steal one of Mr. Polly's pillows here. Give me some back support. So, if it were me and I were in that situation, the main thing is don't triangle, don't vent, don't be reactive, don't play the role of a victim, don't triangle the kid into the relationship. Share only what the kid needs to know, and share it objectively and non-reactively, and do so not because you're venting your spleen at the narcissistic ex-husband. Do so purely and only for the protection and the education of your daughter, and have her read up on narcissism because she knows something's wrong. Something is desperately wrong. I worked with a woman today who, oddly enough, has a 20-year-old daughter, and she does know that her dad has narcissism, but mom isn't angry and colluding and triangling. She's objective but protective. So I hope that answered that question. Sarah has another question. I think that one was from a couple of weeks ago. So here's another one. Sarah says, continuing with the same category of question, would it be helpful for my daughter to know the origin of her family down the road? You know what I'm going to say to that. Would it contribute to the prevention of the potential duplication in her adult life? No. Of the unfortunate misery like my own life? No. Under the serious examination of the heart of the revenge toward her father is necessary. Under the serious examination of the heart, the revenge toward her father is necessary. I didn't understand that. Rationally, not emotionally. So, like I said, the truth will set you free. And absolutely, positively, 20-year-old should know all there is to know about mom, dad, grandpa, great-grandma, great-grandpa. Hi, Tiffany. We're big believers in knowing the family tree. So, but just knowing the dysfunction in the family ain't gonna cut it. It's nice that you might know, the daughter might know the dysfunction in the family system, but that ain't going to keep them from dating a psychopath, unfortunately. If dad wounded them and saw mom being wounded by a narcissist, chances are very, very high, even if they know a lot about narcissism, that they're going to... You like who you like. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. That is what it is. And as somebody in their 20s, just understanding narcissism isn't going to prevent, them from picking somebody dangerous and hurtful. So I'm sorry to say that, Sarah. Hi, Francine. I'm sorry I know that's probably not the answer. Kit, what's up? That's probably not the answer you wanted, Sarah, but it's the truth. So how's everybody doing tonight? I'm a little bit tired. I don't know if you can notice that. Chris Ryan has a question. So we'll get to your question, Chris Ryan, in just a second. So Jackie has a question. Do you think that a housewife of a husband is equal to a working individual? Should they be valued for the work they do at home? Jackie, don't be trying to slip me any tricky questions now. That was a trick question. Absolutely, positively, I believe that a stay-at-home wife and mother in an interdependent, healthy relationship, they are regarded highly by their husband, and they are treated equally, and they are treated with respect. So, no more trick questions, Jackie. You don't see that a lot of times because of codependency and counterdependency and narcissism. So here's Chris's question. Have you seen the new film Get Out? If so, what did you think about it? Oddly enough, Chris, I have seen that movie. My son, Jarrett Michael, who's 26, he he and I have different tastes in films, and we were going to go see Moonlight, the Academy Award. I think it won the Academy Award. They're still counting the votes, I think. But my son recommended this Get Out, and we went to it, and I thought it was very good. It was Friday night, and I was really tired, and I did what I normally do at the movies. I fall asleep. But it was powerful. And I have to get back to my son, because he was saying, you have to really think about it. There's like symbolism. And I've racked my brain. I'm the guy who sees symbolism in movies, and I didn't get it. I guess the only symbolism that I saw was sometimes really nice people can turn out to be the friggin' devil themselves, and people aren't always what you think they are. And in the movie, there was these really nice people who just turned out that they were like way beyond narcissists. They were like evil. But it was a really entertaining, powerful, emotional, gripping movie. Okay. Any more questions? I'm running out of questions. I do have one here from a guy named Michael, and that's the only question I got. If I don't get questions in here, I'm going to start singing. Laura likes how I do movie reviews. I don't know why I do that. I get inspired when I go to the movies, and I go to a lot of movies. I love movies, and I don't always make a movie review. And it's really not a movie review. It's a commentary on, it's almost always a commentary on narcissistic abuse. And that movie, Get Out, was like way beyond narcissistic abuse. It makes narcissistic abuse seem like kindergarten. I mean, there's some evil shit going on there. Michael, I don't know where he's from. Hi. I have been in and out of a relationship for 9 years with what I understand to be a narcissistic woman. I believe now, after a lot of pain and heartache and confusion, I was trauma bonded after termination early on in the relationship. And from then on, is this possible? Of course it is possible. So Chris said it made him think about narcissism. I guess the people hiding their real selves and then just being evil as hell, I guess it did make me think about narcissism. But yeah, early on, if you're trauma bonded, it can bond you and you stay for a long, long time. Semper, what's up? I knew that in that period of time, and I left my emotions very exposed. She already had family of her own, and I was left doing daddy daycare as she worked in the evenings. Somebody wants to know, I didn't get the name, if we could make videos about bipolar disorder, and what was the other one? Depression. Y'all are coming through with the questions. Thank you. Y'all rock. Y'all didn't want to hear me sing. I threatened to sing, and all of a sudden we're getting tons and tons of questions. So to answer Blanky, is that your name, Blanky? Her question about will we cover depression or bipolar disorder? Probably not. I won't. It's just not my gig. It's not my thing. A plumbing video would come in handy. All right. We have somebody putting a commercial on our channel. Let's get rid of those people. So now we are going to be bringing on anywhere from 5 to 10 new YouTube video stars onto our channel within the next couple of months. So they may have an interest in depression or bipolar disease. I'm well acquainted with bipolar disorder, but it runs in my family system, and it hasn't attacked me personally, individually in my own life. It has in my family members, and it's just not something that I've ever been inspired to talk about. I just wait until I'm inspired, and it's out of my control what I'm inspired about. But some of these new video makers that we're going to be training and turning loose on the world might have some pretty awesome topics. Getting back to Michael, most evenings she would come home in a foul humor. It's not good to have a woman who has foul humor. I couldn't understand it because she only worked 4 hours in the evening, and the bus ride was only 20 minutes. I remember dreading the thoughts of her coming in the door. Michael, you're my brother. I know what you're talking about. In my relationship with the fiance, she came home in a foul humor many times, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was afraid of her. She was scary and intimidating. Then the weekend comes, and it seemed to just consist of her going to the shop, and the drink would flow and the arguments would start. I changed my drinking habits consciously and monitored my drinking habits. I started to notice a pattern. She was initiating the arguments after texting. Don't you just love texting? If you have a crazy relationship, texting is like friggin' awesome. You can like sit there and text for like hours, and you don't even have to like be there. It's like the greatest invention in crazy in a long time. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? Have you ever had nasty, crazy ass text wars? Okay. I got curious and read the messages. They were all put downs, not stuff I would text or say. Break up, pack your bags, when I confronted her. Off with fella. Pregnant in a few weeks, another termination. He ran out the door. I'm a little lost here, Michael. The daughter is very abusive and full of violence, and grandma just stops short of condoning her behavior. She is pregnant. Wow, all is good. This is 2016 now. There's a chronological thing. Then, like you just tripped a switch, all hell breaks loose. I'm battling her mother, I'm battling her sister, I'm battling her daughter. It all started with her hanging up the phone when I would ring her when I was working. From that to false accusation to being punched in the face by her daughter. In 2017, Michael writes, I have not responded to one thing from her since New Year, so he's no contact. I just deleted. Is this a cult type of narcissism? Your work has saved me and given me strength. Hi, Dawn. Okay, the cowboy is back. So, Michael, you got a lot of work to do, my friend. What you need to know is you were not victimized by this woman in any way, shape, or form. That you needed to invite her. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable with a pillow here. I used a different chair tonight and it's not working out. But Michael, you picked her in order to reenact wounds from your childhood and themes from your childhood. And you've allowed yourself to be abused. You've allowed yourself to be abused by your daughter. And I'm glad you're no contact. But it really, I need a lazy boy. I do. I normally have these big, comfortable chairs, and I thought I would try the more move around chair. It was a big mistake. I'll never do it again. Big mistake. So, Michael, you need some therapy. You need to not focus so much on this narcissistic woman, but do work on yourself. Somebody needs to have an affair with a plumber. Jackie, is that you? Jackie's being silly tonight. Okay. So, Francine, how do I pick a nice guy to date that is not like my narcissistic parents, especially if the guy is hiding his true self? I'm going to take my coat off and maybe I'll get more comfortable, because this just isn't working out well for me here. Francine needs some dating advice, so we're going to give her some dating advice as soon as I get myself comfortable. I'm sort of a squirmy worm tonight. Francine wants to meet a nice guy. So here's the thing, Francine. If you grew up with a narcissist for a parent, then you've been wounded and you're going to reenact your need to work on those issues with that parent in your love life. So if you have really, really, really strong chemistry with a nice guy, look out, because he's the devil. He's a narcissist and he's hiding his real self, and he'll be consuming your gizzard before too very long. So now there are a small number of people, maybe 5-10%, who either from the get-go or eventually they pick what I call their anti-type. In other words, you pick somebody that maybe you don't have a ton of really intense chemistry with, but they're the opposite of your narcissistic parent. Maybe they're a codependent, maybe they're an empath. That's what I did when I was married for 27 years. I was married to a lovely person, a codependent, didn't have a narcissistic bone in her body. But then the truth about my unresolved issues came up, and I went through a string of multiple, really crazy-ass borderlines. You're the devil in disguise, Elvis sang. So, Francine, be careful. We got all kinds of questions coming in here. Be careful in your love life. We who have been wounded so deeply as children, we're not like other people. We don't have inner childs. We have inner babies, and we attract dangerous, scary people. And so what I'm saying is take it slow. Be very careful with somebody that you have off the chart sexual attraction to. Get involved with somebody for their character, not how smoking hot you think they are. Don't base things so much on just looks. I mean, you have to have some chemistry, but look for somebody who has done the work on themselves, can do further work on themselves, and they're a genuinely good and safe person. That's some good dating advice right there. Stella Bella says, my granddaughter has a histrionic, narcissistic mother. Y'all have these like initials, and I don't always know what an NM, narcissistic mother. She's witnessed so much. She often says, I'm the only one with a mother like this. Oh. My question is, how can I help my granddaughter? Well, Stella, you can tell her that I'm reading these questions. I have an assistant here who's writing the questions down. Whoever that was, Shagun. Do you see the where the questions are in the live chat? Yours is coming up, dude. You're next. Your questions next. But Stella, nurture your granddaughter. Spend as much time with her as you possibly can, and let her know that there's unfortunately millions of other little boys and girls out there who have mommies like hers. I used to think that my family was the worst family on the planet when I was a kid growing up, and then I came to realize that unfortunately they actually were a pretty normal, dysfunctional, American family. So, okay. Shogun. Is this the rest of it? Oh, if identifying red flags for narcissism or abuse doesn't work in relationship, what does? That's a good question. Shogun. If identifying red flags for narcissism or abuse doesn't work, I'm not saying it's not a good idea to recognize red flags. I'm saying, you know what works? Getting healthy, healing your inner child, healing the wounds that you sustained in your childhood. That's what works. You'll pick somebody healthier because you are healthier. This process of picking somebody different, if you're still really unhealthy and you know all the red flags of narcissists, you're just going to be a well-educated codependent empath. It ain't going to keep you from picking them. So the work that you have in front of you is to get significantly healthier yourself. Robert says, amen, Brother Mark. That's good advice. Okay, Shogun, I got another question from you. How can one be careful? Dang. Okay, we have an MVP question answer of the night. That was a really good question. You know what? I might need to switch chairs. This chair is just killing me here. So we're going to do something that we've never been performed on live YouTube before. We need to get my shoes out of the way there. We're going to change chairs. Pretty exciting, huh? Oh, this is going to be hard. All right, I'm going to move around, people. I apologize, but there's chaos reigning in the Family Tree studio. Okay. I'm going to switch chairs. Sorry about that. Oh, much better. Okay, we're going to get situated, and I still need I'm going to steal one of Mr. Polly's pillows here. Okay, sorry about that. Is it too sparkly behind me? I look sort of angelic, don't I? All right, that's a better chair situation. All right, sorry about that. Never before performed on live YouTube. Shogun, how can one be careful? I'll tell you an answer to that, my friend. Be afraid. I'm gonna cuss here a little bit. Be fucking terrified, dudes. Don't get on a dating site. Don't get on Match.com, which I call Psychopath.com. So often I'll be working with somebody who is recently single and recently out of a relationship with a narcissist, and they're getting to the place, it's a year later, they're getting to the place where it's time to date. And I ask them, and this is a trick question. I say, "Are you afraid?" And I usually get like an aw shucks Gomer Pyle, big innocent smile, dopey. "No, I'm not afraid." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to be out in traffic, dodging semi trucks. You need to be careful. You need to be afraid. The world is not as we think it is." Before I knew about this stuff, I thought the world was filled with really nice people who told the truth, who didn't lie and cheat and cut your gizzard out. But so how can you be careful is get a good therapist, heal as much of your family of origin issue stuff as you can heal. Get in community. I don't date anybody anymore unless my kids, my friends, my associates, my group members all agree that they're not a psychopath. Because I've proven a lack of insight and judgment in picking women in the past. So surround yourself with community. Lucia, we have another question. What is your opinion in what makes siblings who had the same toxic parents and had the same type of trauma make different choices? Addiction and toxicities, is that it? Versus recovery and health. Lucia. Sort of a tricky question, and I can answer that one from my own experience. There's a book out. I'm sorry I'm squirming so much here tonight. I'm just trying to keep you guys on your toes. I'm sort of stuck behind my camera. Okay, there we go. There's a book out called Same House, Different Home. And what it's about is about how just because you grew up in the same family doesn't mean you had the same childhood. My younger brother, Sam, who's a good guy, might be a little bit narcissistic, but not a full-blown narcissist at all. He had the most enviable position in the family. My older brother was screwed because you got the older of 7 kids. I was really screwed. And then came along my little brother, but then I had a sister come right after him about a year later, like a year and a month later. And so my younger brother Sam, he's an addict. He's a work addict, but he buys a big house and lives a blessed life, and doesn't look nearly as dysfunctional as the sister after my brother Sam, who, oddly enough, there's another question from Sammy. We'll get that one. My younger sister was named Renda Ashrafi, and she had a drug addiction, and she died a tragic early death. And so why does one sibling who have the same parents turn out differently? Number one, they're not any healthier. My sweet workaholic brother wasn't any healthier than my drug addicted sister who had to grow up in his shadow, and that was a really bad position. She was the scapegoat in the family. Just because you have the same family doesn't mean you have the same home and you have the same experience. So I hope that answers that, Lucia. Okay. Y'all are killing me with questions here all of a sudden. It's awesome. Sammy, Mark, what's the best way to stop the thoughts when you lay down to sleep and then wake up in the morning, and then the first thoughts? This was my first narcissistic experience. I could only hang 2 years. Well, it's healthy of you to only hang in a narcissistic relationship for 2 years. That's not so bad. The best way to stop the thoughts when you lay down to sleep and then wake up in the morning and your first thoughts, well, just know that early on in your shattering, you're going to ruminate a lot. And what it is it's you processing. So don't view it as such a horrible thing. I know it's horribly painful, but it's not necessarily a horrible thing. So it's you processing. Early on in my shattering, when I went back to work, I would keep 2 pads of paper next to me. I don't apologize for this. It was the only way I could work it. I still did good work. I would keep 1 pad of paper for notes for the clients, and then I kept another pad of paper for my brain wouldn't shut down, and I would process. So, Sammy, let your mind think. Frankly, what I would do at night is I'd take me an Ambien, and that would knock me out, and I would sleep. Because if I didn't take that Ambien, there'd be a lot of stress in my body, and I might be up till 3 in the morning, and then I'd be a real mess. But over time and over healing, I would say, how much time do I think of the relationship where I went through so much abuse and torture? Less than 1% of the time. I rarely think about this person, just because over time you really do heal. So there's hope. But in the meantime, go ahead and think, Sammy. It's all right. But take an Ambien, help you get some sleep. Blankie, like holding a warm fuzzy blankie. Get it? Either that or their mind goes blank. I'm not sure. I could argue with that isn't always being afraid draining you out. and you can't give young people advice like not dating. Well, I wasn't saying young people shouldn't not date. How young are you all anyway? I'm an old person. I don't know how young you guys are, Blanky. You could argue with me that it isn't always being afraid draining you out. I'm not advocating paranoia where you're afraid to go out on a date. What I'm saying is if you have a history of dating 7 narcissists in a row, guess what? The 8th one's going to be a narcissist too. So be careful. Jackie's a 58-year-old chick. Dude, you're like half a year older than me. Tanya, 39. Sammy, 57. We're all sharing our ages. Sammy, what day was your birthday? Because mine is June 17th. I don't know if you're born on my birthday or what. So I'm not advocating being paranoid. 45, 1,000 doves. I'm saying be careful. Be healthily afraid. 45 and a half. 59, okay. Be careful. Take it slow. Know your history. Get into therapy early. Zach is only 29. You're a very young man. Karen Smith. Hey, Karen Smith is in the house. She's a rock star. She makes YouTube videos. And Karen is still learning and growing, and she's almost 45 years old. Okay. Karen, you can start like answering some of these questions. Blanky's only 28. So Blanky, I'm not saying don't date. I'm saying do so at your own peril. If you've dated one narcissist after another and you haven't done a bunch of work on healing the wounds of your childhood, just because you listen to Sam Vaktan and you know how to recognize a narcissist doesn't mean you're not going to get devoured by the next one, because you will. You have to heal the wounds of your childhood. Will you still love me when I'm 64? Is that a song? That's a Beatles song. My daughter was singing that the other day, Miss Taylor. Blanky's rivaling the earlier question asker Shogun for Jackie is 58. I don't know if that's a different Jackie. How do you deal with other people's problems triggering you? Hey, guess what? If you're being triggered, they're not other people's problems. They's your problems. If you're triggered, they're yours. If other people have problems and you're not triggered, that isn't a problem. So it's about, I'm saying the same thing. Heal your family of origin. Heal your family of origin wounds. Go to therapy. Get healthier. Do a lot of crying. Have a lot of awareness, and you're not going to be nearly as triggered. I would say right now, I rarely get triggered by people. I get triggered by loud noises. I get triggered by loud talkers in restaurants. I get triggered by when my computer doesn't work, but rarely do people press my buttons to where I act goofily and unhealthily. Okay. 1,000 Doves. I love that name. Can you please comment on how to find value in oneself again after the hurt of a false relationship with a predatory psychopathic version of this pathology? That's a really good question, 1,000 Doves. Yes, Sammy, we're generally sensitive to light and sound. Even this light behind me here is bothering me a little bit. Let me know if that's too bright, and we'll turn that off if it's too bright. uh, finding value in oneself again after the hurt of a false relationship with a predatory psychopathic. Well, you just put one foot in front of another foot, and you do things you love. For me, I play basketball and I ride my motorcycle. I get support from friends. I do my meditation, which is based on a book called Love Yourself as If Your Life Depended on It by Camille Ravikant. And I hold my little inner child, which is a little tiger, and I say, I love myself, even though people sometimes are mean to me. I'm saying it sort of silly right there, but I genuinely do that while I'm playing the music from Dances with Wolves in the background. And 1,000 Doves, that's how I healed, is I treated myself well. I stopped exposing myself to hurtful people. I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. I went to a lot of therapy. I went to a treatment center. I did yoga. I did meditation. And I can say that most days I love myself just fine. But it took a lot of work and it took a lot of time. So God bless you, 1,000 Doves. Keep working and you'll get healthier over time. Karen made a video on recovering your worth. So look on our channel and then you can grasp knowledge and wisdom from Karen Henry Smith on how to regain your worth. I didn't. My bad, Karen. I didn't realize that there was a specific video on that specific topic. Okay, I'm running short. I've got 2 questions left, so y'all have to. We got 25 minutes, and I've only got 2 questions, so I need some more questions. So much positive energy. I don't know who they're talking about. Robert says, was it good to confront your mom on how she loved you or not so much loved you? I am tempted to have a conversation with my mom, but I don't think she'd understand. Robert, that's a brilliant question. Yes, I confronted my mother over a 4.5-year period. This was before email, dudes. I'm old. I confronted her face to face. I talked with her by phone. A lot of the work was via old-fashioned snail mail. And my mother didn't understand at first. But after 4.5 years of conversation, she was able to own her stuff and apologize for quite a bit. And she was a notorious venter. And are you guys buffering? I'm sorry for the buffering. I don't know why there's so much buffering going on tonight. My mother was a notorious victim-y triangler, and I basically taught her that there is lots of buffering. Sorry about the buffering. Nina switched browsers. Maybe it's a browser issue. So, Robert, good luck in confronting your mother. Do it slowly. Be non-reactive. Realize it's not a one-time conversation. It's a conversation that will take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And it's not always wise for everybody to do this. If you have a malignant narcissist, don't waste your time confronting them, because it's going to be a horrific experience. But if you have somebody who's a mild to moderate, more mild, borderline like my mother, after much time and energy and effort, she was able to hear me, apologize to me, show me some respect, and quit acting goofy crazy around me. Sammy's asking lots of questions. What's the best way to control triggers, and how can we best stay focused in daily life? I'm going to grab my beverage here. Katie says, hi, Mark. And there's a question. We got another question. Sorry, I got thirsty. What's the best way to control triggers? I'm not big on control. I was watching the wonderful movie. What's the movie called? The one with Mary Tyler Moore, Ordinary People. And Judd Hirsch plays the therapist for, what's his name? Timothy Hutton. And he goes in and he says he wants control. And then Judd Hirsch made him come to therapy twice a week because he said control's a tough nut. Not big on control. You don't control triggers. You heal your wounds. So when you're triggered, you don't get triggered. You become untriggerable because you've healed so much of your business. How do you stay focused in daily life? It's hard to stay focused for me. I still suffer from fuzzy brain syndrome. So you do your best. I take a supplement for my brain. I try to get as much sleep as I possibly can. But staying focused is hard because we experience, in this process of complex PTSD, we experience real damage to our brain. So it's a hard thing. I'm down to the last question. Okay, there's another one coming. Karen, thank you for talking on the show tonight, making an appearance. Did you guys know that Karen Henry Smith is a talented therapist and that she is available in Carmel, Indiana to do therapy with you, and she's available via Skype for a reasonable fee. We were talking today, and she was saying this is hard work, but I think she does have a passion for it. So Karen Henry Smith, if you want a real talented therapist for a low fee, then contact us and we will set that up. Shogun, most valuable question asker. How important is traditional therapy in the healing process? I'm 24, so I can't really afford it. Does research and educating oneself aid in the process? If not, what else can I do? Traditional therapy with a great therapist is very, 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 very important. I want to direct you guys to the last video that I made, and I forget what I called it. What did I call my last video? It was called... can you look that up for me? Did I mention the fuzzy brain? I made this video on Saturday. Today's Tuesday. I know it was a really good video on therapy. I think it's coming here. That's not it. Okay. But traditional therapy, if you have a great therapist, is very effective. 20 characteristics of what? Of elegant therapy. There's more to it, Robert. Elegant, Smoking weed. That didn't go with the 20 characteristics of deep, elegant personality rewiring therapy. Robert's my man. Whenever we need knowledge looked up, he looks it up. Thanks, Robert. So I talk in there about the relationship between the therapist and the client. I was working with a fellow today in a first-time session, and he was a man in his 60s, and he had never been parented well, and he was using up most of his session to sort of ventilate and sort of triangle. And I talked with him about how it felt to interact with him. Lizard, hey. And you can heal through a caring, nurturing, healthy, insightful relationship with a therapist, and those people are worth their weight in gold. If you can find somebody like that, I see a caring, insightful therapist every week, and I really value that. Sorry about the noise with the lozenge, but I'm running out of voice here. Does research and educating oneself aid in the process? Yes, but it won't replace you going to therapy. So find a way to get to therapy even as a 24-year-old, either through insurance, or many communities have low-cost therapists, or you might have a student therapist. But yeah, we're a pretty big believer in the whole therapy thing. Andy, if you don't advise using dating sites to meet people, what are the alternatives? Go out in the world and see what happens. That's a really good question, Andy. Thank you for that. Well, I used to be a big believer in dating sites because what does the internet do? When you add the internet to something, it just makes it more powerful. And I was getting rid of a bunk bed, and I put it on Facebook, and boom, the next day the bunk bed is gone. That's the power of the internet. It's so cool. It was free. Y'all are talking about coconut and ice cream, and we're on a delicious dessert food theme all of a sudden. The problem is that dating sites are swimming with psychopaths. I think Sam Vaktin said it could be as high as 70%. So dangerous. Now, all of us know nice people who met another nice person on Match.com and they're married and happy. But there's 30 of us who got blown up by the devil for every one of those people, in my opinion. Here's what I would recommend with dating is make friends, join a church, join a recovery group, surround yourself with people of high character, and let them set you up with their sister. I have a lovely gentleman client from North Carolina who's one of the healthiest people I know, and he's in our men's group. And he's a good-looking fella, and he's charming, and he's healthy, and he cooks, and I'm about ready to get people checking into him here with the way I'm describing him. But his sister-in-laws, he has two sister-in-laws who they're starting to set him up with lovely, healthy women who the sister-in-law has known this person for a long time, so they come. They should have matchoff.com. Stay off the match.com. So Andy, I wish you well. I hope you find the woman of your dreams. But build recovery communities and get referred by people who know people who can vouch for their character. That's what I would say about that. Katie, what if a friend says his wife is a narcissist, but he says he's from a loving family and had a lovely upbringing? Katie, you served me up a softball, and I'm going to crush it out of the park. If this man has a genuinely narcissistic wife, then he did not grow up in a healthy family. There maybe was some love in the family, but he had a dysfunctional childhood. I've been doing this therapy business for 30 years, folks, and I dig into family systems. Every client I've ever worked with in 30 years, I've learned about their mom, their dad, their grandparents, their kids, their siblings, their children, and never once have I worked with somebody who had a horrifically dysfunctional marriage who didn't have an equally dysfunctional childhood. Don't even get me started on this. It's not possible. You're going to pick somebody equally as healthy as you and equally as healthy as your mother and father. It's an immutable law of nature. All right. Get me rowdy here. Sammy, is there any sense when I put all of her stuff in storage to leave her a note on how I feel and what she is for my closure? Sammy, I thought, you're welcome, Katie. Somehow I thought that you were a gal. Maybe you are, and maybe you're in a relationship with another gal. Or Sammy, maybe you're a dude. Can we get some clarification, Sammy, on your dudeness or chickness? But the question is there any sense when I put all of her stuff in storage to leave her a note on how I feel and what she is for my closure? Sammy is a guy. I did not know that. It's funny. Okay, dude. My experience is that closure is something you're never going to get from a narcissist. And you can try and try and try, but it's really not going to happen. So closure is something that you get from your own healing. You can leave a note on her stuff, but you may not hear back, or you may get hoovered back in. So heal your wounds, brother Sammy, and then you won't have to grasp. Mark, you have a gift. Thanks for sharing. I don't feel very gifted tonight, folks. I'm tired. I got an uncomfortable chair. Mr. Pauly's not hanging out with me on the show very much. But I'm sharing what I know, and I hope it's talking to some of you. Sammy's back with another question. Sammy says he's impervious to hoovering and he doesn't want to hear back. Well, if you don't have a compulsive need to leave a note, leave a note. Because you don't care one way or another whether or not she responds back. You already have closure, my friend. If you don't need to hear back from her and you're impervious to closure, to hoovering, you already have, okay, right. They don't have remorse. They're not going to give you closure, but you can get it within yourself. They don't have the power to withhold closure from you. You get closure within yourself. Sammy, how long do recovery times take? like my situation was 2 years, is somebody out of a 20-year stint. I like to think I'm getting better every day, but sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Well, I was in a 6.5 year long relationship, and I'm sneaking up on 2 years of recovery. Hi, Carrie Moore. How you doing? So, if you were in a relationship for 20 years and it's only been 2 years, Sammy, don't feel bad about 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That's pretty good. You'll get there eventually. Just keep trudging, keep working, keep moving forward. Okay. Shogun. Sammy and Shogun are battling for the largest number and the best questions tonight. Lizard, how you doing? Lucia, you're welcome. Do I believe in God? Or are you asking me? If you're asking me, yes, I do. I do believe in God. I pray almost every day. It's not exactly the Jesus of my religious addict older brother, but how can you go to the beach and see the waves and look up at the stars and not believe in God? I'm just saying. Absolutely, positively believe in God, and I encourage you to trust the universe and spend some time in prayer. Hey, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves all y'all. The poor fur baby. Is that Mr. Polly, or who are you talking about? Okay, so Shogun. Being from a dysfunctional background, is it advisable to be with somebody who comes from the same or better to pick somebody more or less functional? I find myself making a lot of dysfunctional friends. So here's Jackie's fur baby. So here's the thing, Shogun. Here's my belief. You're always going to pick somebody equally as healthy as you. God rocks, Stella Bella says. So some people may, I look at it like this. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being perfectly healthy, there are no 10s, of course, but I don't believe there's any 9s, 8s, 7s, or 6s on the planet. And most of us on that scale from 1 to 10 with our mental health are about a 3. So if you're a 3, your best friend's going to be a 3 and your husband's going to be a 3. And in my case, I probably grew up as a 2.5, and eventually I ran into a trove of 2.5s, and it was a very dangerous place to be. Okay, Carrie, how do I get over when I feel happy? I stop the feeling over fear that someone will take my happy away from me again. Carrie, this is a real common thing. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? You get a little happy rolling, and you just know that bad shit's going to come your way. So, time, Carrie, time, healing, support, and eventually you'll stop worrying about the happy going away. My experience is life's hard. Life is hard, and what I understand is, bad stuff's going to happen. I keep even professionally attracting harmful narcissists, and I encounter them in a lot of different venues. So, but overall, I'm pretty happy, and nobody can take my happy away. They might bruise me for a day or two, or a week or two, or a month or two, or in the case of somebody really horrific, a year or two, but nobody's going to take my happy away. All right? Because we've got recovery, and we have the power to get healthier and happier over time. It's a momentum thing. Okay, Katie. What if two codependents meet each other? Will that relationship work? No, it won't work because you won't be able to decide where to go to the movies. You won't be able to decide where to go out to eat. Oh, well, do you want Mexican or do you want Chinese? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? Never going to work. That's my opinion. They're generally in a relationship. There's an Indian and there's a chief. There's a leader and there's a follower. If they're both two followers, it ain't gonna rock and roll. So that's just my thought. So I'm out of questions. I'm out of steam. You got another one? I'm out of voice. So we're going to start winding down slowly here. It seemed like there was a lot of people watching the show tonight, and a lot of really good questions and a lot of really good support. I'm going to try to grab Mr. Polly and see if I can get him over here to participate with us just a little bit. Oh, come on, Mr. Polly. Mr. Polly has put on several pounds. He's like his daddy, I guess. So there's my baby. So thank you for watching tonight. I'm glad it's been helpful, Shogun. I do love you guys, and I'm glad we have this show. And remember that next week, Jolly Polly, he smells good. Did he get a bath? Polly got a bath today. Karen says goodnight, Mr. Polly. Say goodnight to Karen, Mr. Polly. What's up? Next week, again, we're having Deb Ward from St. Joe, Michigan, brilliant and genius massage therapist. I would say that during my early recovery, Polly, you're adorable, somebody says. My early recovery, the first 3 months, the most powerful and healing thing that I did was massage therapy. So, okay, so everybody have a wonderful week, and take good care of yourselves. Stay off Match.com. Stay afraid but not paranoid in dating. And say your prayers and get healthier every day. And we will see you back next week. Mr. Pauly's had enough. He's ready to go do his thing. Jackie's still looking to have the plumber come over. There sounds something nefarious about that, Jackie. I don't know what you're up to there. We should, Tiffany says we should create our own dating site. I've thought of that before, actually. Hey, Sideways, have a good week, my friend. Family tree dating. But here's the thing. What we would do if we started a dating site is we would take your family tree, and if you were attracted to somebody who is a severe abandoner, we would hook you up with a severe abandoner. If you grew up with an alcoholic, we'd hook you up with a recovering alcoholic. If you grew up with a mean, controlling mother, we'd hook you up with a mean, controlling woman. And then we'd get you in recovery, and we'd get you healthier, and you'd live happily ever after. Uh, so Jackie's hearing about my dating thoughts, and she just says that she's screwed. So, all right, folks, we're a little bit over time. I enjoyed tonight. Dating isn't a nightmare. You like who you like. Who you date is calibrated by the wounds of your childhood. I'm telling you the truth now. So, relationship pain is an opportunity to heal. I was working with a couple today, and they were both in just so much pain. And they were saying the fellow was shattered, the wife was shattered. And I said, y'all ain't looking at this right. This is a blessing. This is a spiritual growth opportunity. It's all good. And that's the truth. So thank you for watching tonight. I'm going to go home and get some dinner, try to get some sleep. I enjoyed it. Have a fantastic week. See you next time.